good. So this will be the topic for today's discussion. It's about the fast-changing trends of outbound travel from China. So we all know that China has been developing very, very rapidly, but of course, things are changing rapidly as well. I may just go through this quickly before I bring our panelists, because otherwise they will sit there and they won't be able to see this. I'm only doing a very quick introduction on the whole purpose of today's China-Arabia or Arabia-China Tourism Forum, simply because, just a few figures, I hope this works. Let's see that if this, okay. Yeah, so let's see this. Just let's see these few figures. I hope the figures speak for themselves that China is important. The fact that no single city is empty also testifies that you are interested in China. So 154 million of Chinese went abroad last year. That's a significant number given the fact that Dubai itself or UAE only have a few million people here. But of course, more people will be going abroad again. It's not just in terms of numbers. So 200 million will certainly be reached in next year, let's say. And of course, it's an enormous amount of money being spent, 429 billion. I hope that the panelists will be able to share some more figures there during the speech. But this is why we specially organized the Arabia-China tourism market and here in UAE, because the relationship between China and not just UAE itself, the whole region. Actually, I was waiting for a new picture coming. I didn't get it until now. But if you look at the news recently, this last 2 days and so on, there are over 50 or so head of states, prime ministers are in China, including the ruler of Dubai. And of course, that's figure. Let me see if this works there. So that is when the ruler is in China, just the day before, meeting up second time with the deputy or vice chairman of vice president of China. He came down to UAE 3 months after the President Xi Jinping came in July, so he came in October. Then January this year, President Xi Jinping sent another convoy led by the head of the foreign affairs for special meetings here again for the One Belt, One Road conference. And that is going on right away now in Beijing. And of course, one of those, I can assure you, it's not just about trade and the economic relations. Tourism is heavily discussed there because many countries know over 60 or so countries either waived visa requirement for Chinese, including UAE, and China also waived the visa requirement for them. And of course, more countries on visa arrival and so on. So it's not just the UAE itself, but the greater region here. I just want to touch on here because the purpose of today's meeting is the forum, having all the panelists later share with you, is really about how to help the DMCs, DMOs here to recognize the very unique characteristics of China, our outbound travel from China. We all, people in the travel business tend to think of, oh, it's just tour operators. But I would say that look at the figure of, Chinese going abroad for business. And that is still significant. I know some of you may just overlooked it already, say, oh, there's less delegations, official delegations. But when the previous, I want to go back because it's this one line by line. But previous slide you have seen when the head of states visit each other, tens of major agreements are being signed. That leads to many other delegations coming to execute those agreements. So you should be looking out for large number of Chinese government officials, business groups, and once a large number, I'm talking about the fact that even now, that all the flights from China to UAE are full booked, to the extent that some of our buyers couldn't get seats. Some of them went to the airport for the last 3 nights to just get seats at last moment. No, there's nothing available. Comparing to, I actually flew last night, just arriving this morning from London. It's the first time I, encountered the whole 777-300 with 91 passengers only on it. So it could give you a indication where the visitors are coming to this country. But this is a topic that we will discuss with the panelists on the new trend, that trend from moving away from the group travel. So obviously tour operators have been sending many Chinese on the group travel, but to FITs. So we'll also talk about the difference between our understanding of FITs and what the traditional understanding of FITs, but 51% I believe is higher percentage of Chinese traveling are FITs. They travel in smaller groups. They are traveling either in families or people who they know each other and so on. But of course, it's also the age groups changing from traditional, those, I would say, retired people and so on. They are still traveling, and they come up here as well. But the people were born in the 90s are overtaking the 70s, And then the 80s group is still making up the largest. So for you to think about who are they are the ones having children. They go abroad. They are the ones that make up FITs, as well as the 90s that are young ones, but they are not backpackers. Okay. Now, how to reach these people? These are the questions posed to the panelists, but just for you to have a general idea, because the panelists won't have the opportunity to share any slides with you, but I put the general figures there for you to know what are the answers. I hope that I hear from the panelists on how they are reaching out to the Chinese succeeded and share the experience, okay? And you have seen online the panelists I introduced one by one just moments. And just for you to see the few figures, that's 860 million or so Chinese online. And we have over 1 billion social media users and so on. And of course, these are quite the important thing. And next slide, yes, it does show you that, unfortunately, those of you who haven't been to China, or those who have been to China know that whatever you are using outside China, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, are not available in China. So Trump tweets every day. Unfortunately, we don't see much what he's tweeting because we don't see the Twitter. But we have WeChat, Weibo, that are all having over 1 billion actual users. So these are the, the medium that we are using, and other the destination promotion authorities. So we have representative here from Sharjah Tourism as an example that these are the traditional way of marketing, but not just a farm trip of, visiting the sites, but bringing the media, the KOLs. These are heavily influencing the younger generation because they are constantly online, okay? But also the social media and WeChat, Weibo are only, two more obvious ones. But later on, I hope that Terry from the Alibaba will tell you how they, a big giant, went into the travel business and so on. That's on providing Alipay, for example. I passed by the Dubai Mall this morning. Alipay sign is everywhere, okay? And I hope that Terry can confirm how many, what percentage. And these are important for people like you having hotels, tour operators that won't be, I hope you won't be surprised when Chinese say, can I pay by Alipay or can I pay by WeChat Pay and so on, because that's what we do in China. And, but also just touch on how to cater for the Chinese visitors. These are hour-long presentation normally, but it's just one slide for you to know we are different, but we are not difficult, okay? So we are different just because there's the cultural differences, and even in terms of travel treats, how to respond to tour operators, the requests, the inquiries may come up that are very, urgent. They require your quotation on the same day. Can you do it? If you can't, unfortunately, you miss out the business and so on. But then when the Chinese arrive, we may talk loudly. Well, let's accommodate. I try to tell the Chinese normally that keep quiet. This government's policy for them, but out of nature that we tend to speak loudly. But we do shopping a lot. We do shopping that, I just go back once, that's where we spend money and so. But just for you to see a quick summary that the market is ready for you for sure because UAE is having significant number of Chinese, altogether over almost 4 million, I believe. I hope that panelists can highlight that almost 4 million Chinese traveling just via UAE, and over 1 million or so, approaching 2 million are staying overnight. But what the other 3 million are traveling to other destinations. I'm sure that you are not just from UAE, from all the region. And the region is also a stepstone for Chinese going to other markets. I can see the faces from Africa, from America, and we do have panelists from other parts of the world. And indeed, at this moment, I will just start introducing the panelists. I do apologize for holding you there because I just didn't want you to, turn heads on here. But let's start with ladies. And the first lady here is. No, I got Helen come up, okay. Helen is the CEO of Pan-Ukraine, but she was better known as the Minister of Tourism for Ukraine. So let's welcome Helena, yeah, okay. And I guess that if Helen was a comedian, can you take the next one, yeah. And you could have been the president of Ukraine. So only you need to be a comedian, huh? Okay. And again, lady coming up is Amber, and she's the head of Asia for Sharjah Tourism. So she will be able to share with you how Sharjah has done, being overshadowed by some other, where we are, but they bring a lot of Chinese enjoying the cultural parts, historical parts, and so on. That's, let me see that if I can bring some, yeah, okay. Can I get Terry in? Yeah, Terry, come up. Terry is the general manager for the Alibaba Europe, okay? So if you have questions about Alibaba, Alipay, and they have Fliggy and so on, do ask Terry there. And I did put some questions, what I email you on the desk, so you can, on the table, you can keep post. And I have Rami, okay? And Rami is actually the Senior Vice President for Development of Louvre Hotels, which is owned by Chinese giants of Jinjiang, not just Jinjiang Group. Jinjiang Group is having hotels, the largest number in China. They got the entire Louvre Group owned by Jinjiang, and they've acquired the Radisson Group, didn't they, in November last year. So Remy will be able to share with you, say, we are not just sending visitors, we are also working close with the hoteliers to provide better experience to the Chinese, okay? Now, last but not least, okay, is Gary. I regard as one of the forebearers of outbound travel from China. So Gary is the CEO and president of the two companies, okay? Hi, please, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. And they send actually 100,000 packs each year overseas, and being one of the most successful, what we call non-government, non-state-owned tour operators, because you all know CITS, CTS, and so on. These are giants. But for what I call the special destinations like UAE and so on, that it's still the specialist tour operators that are dominating. So people like Gary will be able to share how they have been sending visitors, but also what their visitors are expecting from you guys as the suppliers and so on, okay? So I won't take up more of your time, but I'll let the question start. And I know that Helen has a quick, maybe you want to do it later or now? Okay, so, yeah, okay. I got this, the presentation, she has a few slides, it won't be long. And the reason Helen's here is not just because She was the previous Minister of Tourism, but they are a unique tour operator that has been very successful in attracting Chinese to Ukraine, but they are also sending people here. So in other words, you can talk to her afterwards about how to get some businesses from them, but also she will share what they succeeded in China. Okay, let's welcome Helen again, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. Is it okay with the sound? Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Ni men hao to our Chinese tour operators. Who knows that Ukraine is bigger than France in regarding the territory? I don't think that most of you know this. Our geographic location is really very unique. Why? Because we are a good stopover for the Asian travelers to Europe and for the travelers from United Arab Emirates, from the Middle East to Europe as well. So we have really very unique location. For the long time, Ukraine was unknown as a tourism destination. Why? All of you are professionals, and you know the three keys successful destination. First of all, it is the attraction, highlights of the country. The second thing, it is the accessibility, transport accessibility. So it is the flights. And the third one, it is the visa, entrance accessibility. And Ukraine was really, for the long time, very close with a strict visa regime for all the foreigners. When I was the Minister of Tourism in 2013, I signed the Memorandum of Understanding for the group travelers from China to Ukraine. And it is brings the start of visa liberalization process. Now the citizens of more than 73 countries can come to Ukraine without visa, so visa-free, including the Emirates, the citizens of Emirates. And there is 53 countries who could come and could use the electronic visa regime. Is no need to apply to any visa centers, just for entering on our Foreign Affairs Ministry website, you are putting your photo and you are getting in 1 week visa, electronic visa for 30 days to stay in Ukraine if you are the tourist or the businessman. But still, it is not enough. Why? Because, for example, for Emirates, the citizens of Emirates or Kuwait or Qatar, yes, they can come to Ukraine without visa. But the residence card holders who are mostly working here, who are traveling from Emirates a lot, they cannot come. Why? Because they should apply for visa. So on the government level, my challenge and my duty still to fight for more liberalization. What about, as Adam said, what about the Chinese? You know, even our slides, they're prepared in Chinese. Why? Because last year, our company won the CTV prize with the C-Trip for the electronic marketing of the country. While government does not do anything to market the Ukraine abroad, we are, as Pan-Ukraine tour operator, having our own website, Chinese website, and having our own WeChat channel, and we are promoting the country through these channels. For groups, we have special packages. We have combined tours with Ukraine and Georgia, Ukraine and Belarus, Ukraine and Poland, using our unique location. For individuals, we have weekly scheduled package tours which are available on our Chinese website and on our Europe website. This is the company's loggers which are already works with us, and they have their representations in Ukraine because Chinese business moving to Ukraine very, very fast. Tourist is not moving so fast. From those millions which Adam shows, so you said 154 millions of Chinese travelers last year, Ukraine visited just 50,000. It is very few, but we still promoting Ukraine because we believe that more Chinese travelers, more businessmen will come. we already signed the memorandum of understanding with the Union Pay system, and we will be the pilot project for them to use their payment, to accept their payments on our Chinese website. I hope that after that meeting, we will do the same with Alipay. I'm sure. Thank you, Adam, for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so most of our clients now, it is the middle-aged people which are looking for the business opportunity in Ukraine. Chinese really ready to invest. And we are waiting the hotel investments as well, so it is very good to have you here, also the number. As the Chinese saying, 树草草草草道. So we have the ambitions plan. When you will think about Ukraine, you think pan-Ukraine.
Okay, thank you, Helen. I think what you shared there is more valuable in terms of everyone sitting here. I'm sure you are from all around the world, is to be determined for the Chinese market, because I'm sure comparing to UAE, Ukraine is even further. There's some, adverse condition that put people off, but Chinese still found there. Helen showed that they deal with large companies. I mean, people like you, if you can capture from literally Alibaba all the way to Huawei, they are constantly doing events overseas. They are sending their executives. They are spending millions on events overseas. Get their business, and that can make your business even more successful. But I wish to turn to Amber from the DMO, the Destination Marketing Organization's experience of how they, as a smaller, but I believe, I have been to Sharjah just 2 weeks ago again. I know, I genuinely believe Chinese places like Sharjah because it has a history, cultural, it's the capital of the Arab world, and the culture capital, and of course also the heritage side. So, Amber, can you share the experience how Sharjah succeeded in attracting Chinese?
Sure. Okay. So, 大家好，下午好。然后 So hello everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Amber Gao. So today, on behalf of our ICTDA, Sharjah Commerce and Tourism Development Authority, to give all of you a suggestion regarding how we Sharjah Authority Tourism Board attract the Chinese market. As Sharjah is a culture capital, Arab culture capital, we have our really unique attractions compared with other Emirates. Because as you all know, here have 7 Emirates. Sharjah is the 3rd large Emirates in the UAE. And we are the only Emirates who have the 2 coasts, like East Coast and West Coast. So this brings us different type of guests. Like for the Chinese travelers, some they like leisure, some it's FIT. So most for us is a leisure group. Because Sharjah, we have our very competitive hotel rate and a very personalized service from Sharjah Hotel. And as well, we have a unique attraction, kind of like Sharjah Rain Room, which like you walk through the rain room, but your clothes will not get wet. So that's some really unique attraction for all the Chinese travelers, which is our most 网红 place. That's the place. Because nowadays many Chinese visitors come to different destinations, but they want to take photos, some unique photos, especially young generation and even the age of around 40s, but still they like some really unique place to take significant place for the photos. So Sharjah Rain Room is our highlight, and as well what we do our attraction, like for the adventure travelers, we have our Sharjah Maleha, which is under Shuruk's project. And this will make the difference because That's the only red sands area for the desert safari, and it's more for like adventure and also more for this kind of discovery culture tourists. And as well, what we did to attract more Chinese guests, like for example, Sharjah hotels, they like Sheraton Hotel, like other Coptham Hotel, and they provide the Chinese chili sauce, which is lao ganma. I believe the Chinese guests they may know. So, and even for the guests, whoever maybe miss the breakfast, but they will have the instant noodle ready for the guest. So, which is really thoughtful and convenient for the Chinese guests. And as well, what we did to attract the Chinese guests is like we did, as what Dr. Adam said, we did our KOL campaign. Like we invite some Wang Hong, is a key opinion leader, to come to Sharjah and write some articles. This more young generation, they may know about Sharjah. So this is one way. And another way, of course, our farm trips, and it will encourage the travel agency to know the Sharjah attractions and hotelers. And one more suggestion for all of the hotel and even the tour company to attract the Chinese is like your Chinese website, your Chinese social media accounts, and as well to implement your Chinese website, the SEO. So this will be really helpful because for now, this Chinese generation, the young generation, speak English well, but not all of the ages people speak English. So if you have Chinese brochure, Chinese website, and the Chinese social media, this will really helpful for your hotel and for your company to develop in this market. So part of this, and we, Sharjah, have a lot of museums, and for this kind of culture lover who like Arab culture, this will be really attract a lot of these tourists regarding Sharjah. So like Islamic Civilization Museum, as long, since you already in UAE, if you not visit Islamic Civilization Museum, you may be kind of like you're in Hong Kong. So this kind of culture thing make you feel really different, and you are in UAE, you are in Sharjah. So we have our Sharjah slogan is smell while you are in Sharjah. So we want everyone, and especially the Chinese tourists, when they come to Sharjah, feel at home and smell while you are in Sharjah. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. So that's good advice in terms of how to break down the language barrier. I just want to add one thing when Amber talk about Chinese websites, social media. Do make sure that those are done properly in China, because I know some commercial companies or even DMOs still just have a Chinese version. But unfortunately, we don't have Google in China. Those that's in the internet business know that there is a great firewall of China, still separating what you are using here. And in China, we use our own search engines like Baidu. We don't use Google. Google is completely blocked still, not just the social media wise. So those need to be hosted in China, SEO done in the Chinese search engines, but also, of course, properly released. Given, for example, one example for the social media. Now, if you host it outside, due to the time difference, you may send out some releases now, thinking that, oh, Chinese will get it tomorrow morning. What will happen in the morning? Everyone gets hundreds of the pushes. Do we really look through? I normally bypass them all in the morning. You rush out for meetings or getting ready for breakfast and whatever. So we would do it locally there. That's normally when the people are on the way to work. You see in China, we don't talk to each other anymore on the train or whatever. Check the social media. Before lunch, release it so that lunchtime people don't talk to each other again. they sit there checking their WeChat, everything, then they share, even just cross it. So make sure you release it at the right time and so on. Those are the practical, the advice. But I wish to pose the next question to everyone in terms of the trends, because we've talked about moving away from group travel to FITs. So I wish people, even Amber, to think about how destinations reach out to those FITs, and Terry will be able to share that. But before that, since maybe just Terry can bring this to this direction, because it's quite important. I'm sure those people sitting here know that, of course, you can still talk to the tour operators. There's still almost half of Chinese traveling, but we can't ignore the trends that more FITs are coming. So what's your take on this, Terry?
Well, thank you. So in terms of the trend, you've mentioned the main trend that we would also see, but I'm happy to elaborate it from the view of Alibaba and our travel platform Fliggy. I mean, the trend is very clearly away from large groups of 35 to 55-year-old plus travelers traveling together to go to a place to have been there and to go shopping. That is still happening, and in absolute numbers, that will actually continue to grow. But as a percentage of an ever-increasing number, it is going down, being replaced by smaller groups of millennial FITs. Our users on our platform, 58% of our users are millennials. And so small groups of millennials who are going to beautiful places to discover and have unique experiences, to discover the local culture, to discover the local food like a local, and to experience that and have special experiences which they can then share with their friends on social media, very important, and then still do some shopping, because shopping does remain important, but it's just one thing as opposed to the main thing. So this is clearly the trend. So from our perspective, we are very focused. Our site, our travel platform is very much targeted towards millennials, right? It's all about how they want to use social media to discover where to go. They aren't that interested in hearing the official opinion. They're not even that interested in the advertising campaign if it's done in the traditional sense. They're interested in knowing peers in their group, people they know of or associate or affiliate with, why did they go? And I have to say what you were saying about Sharjah, I say hats off. We should talk more, because I think Sharjah is doing everything just right, because talking about the unique experience enable people to say, I went to a place that my friends haven't gone to. Maybe my friends have made it to the UAE once, maybe not. I've gone to a special place and I've had a special experience that I can talk about. You cannot underestimate the importance of this idea of discovery and uniqueness, be it in the travel industry, as we're talking about today. In my job, I see this across all aspects, though, of trade with China. People want to understand, be it a brand, a hotel brand, but also a consumer brand or a location brand. They want to understand, why is this unique? Why is it special? Why have people been buying this product or using this brand or going to this destination for so long? I want to understand why it's special. The more you can do to help them understand that, the better job you're doing. And I think in your case, you're doing a lot of very good things. So hats off.
Thank you, Terry. That's a good insight. So maybe you can think about how Alibaba is using that big data. You got the entire ecosystem for tourism and so on, but not just focusing on, I'm sure you're not, you mentioned the millennium, the 90s, but I wish to highlight the fact that in China, over 1 billion Chinese using social media, meaning not just the younger ones, yeah? My parents using that, almost everyone, so 1 billion is a huge, that's thousands million. 1,000 million of Chinese constantly using WeChat, Weibo, and so on. So older generation are using it because it's so easy to use as well. But then I wish to turn, just bypass Rami for now, but Gary, from Chinese tour operators' point of view, how do you cater for, in the past I know that you were doing a lot of groups, and how do you catch up with these trends of getting those more FITs or smaller groups over to anywhere that you focus on?
Okay. I give you an example about how we grasp the changing market. Is anybody know Ma Fengwo?
Yeah.
The buyers
one
from
of
China
your-
don't raise your hand.
It's one
Would
of the old
you
tiers.
raise your hand if you know Ma Fengwo?
Okay, the Chinese know.
Oh, okay. So only two, right? Okay. I share with you how we do in Ma Fengwo. Ma Fengwo is it started as a UGC company 10 years ago, but currently they have they have 6 million daily user and 12 million monthly user. Oh, no, it's not 120 monthly active user. It's from a turn from UGC to content to deal company now. 3 years ago, we start to work with Ma Fengwo. I set up a new team, which is 30 people, 10 people contribute the content. The other 10 design the product, and then the other 10, the last 10, do the customer service. The first 10, contribute the content. We working with local DMCs, DMOs, local tour operator, local suppliers to publish the deep, very local content in Ma Fengwo. And our product design team to design the product very closely connected with the content. And then the other team, the customer service, they are not only do the customer service, they spend most of the time to follow up the travelers. They ask the travelers to make the content, to share their experience, even help us to design the product. We redesign the product and resell in the Ma Fengwo website. I started it 3 years ago. First year I sold only $1 million US. But the second year, my revenue 3 times increase. So it's 3 million. Last year is third year, it's 8.5 million. For this year, I predict it will be 20 million US. So it's 300 time increase every year in past 4 years, including this year. So it's very working very closely with Flaky. Flaky is do you know Flaky is Ali Trip owned by Alibaba, and we work with C-Trip. I work with the other website, the other platform, very similar with Ma Fengwo, named Qiong. Yeah, everybody, as Adam says, the young generation don't like my generation direct go to a travel store to find the itineraries, product. They go somewhere to find what to do and where to go, and what KOL say, and what they play. So they follow the key opinions. So I don't know if my experience is helped you, but you can try, you can discuss with me about how to do in China UGC companies, how to turn content to product, to deals, to make success. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Gary, I wish you to think about questions later to the DMCs here and the incoming tour operators or hoteliers, that how you want to capture their business. Gary only mentions the new trends over the 3 years. They've been in business for a long time. They were the avant-garde of outbound travel from China to certain destinations and so on that now is spread. And also just to see the hundreds times increase through he mentioned it's one of the OTAs. Now there are many OTAs now in China. Obviously, AliTrip is one of those, and Ctrip has been launched there, but then Mafeng will happen to be difficult for us to pronounce, so that's why you may not know. But for you to realize that how the outbound tour operators are capturing this quite different clientele. I'm sure, Gary, you can confirm that the people who come through OTAs to you are very different from the previous groups you were dealing either with students or with some for certain country, because they are more FITs. Is that the case? The people coming from the OTAs, they are more FITs nowadays, or they are groups?
Both.
Both, yeah, okay. Now, then I wish to turn to Rami, because you have much more connection with China. So how hotels like Louvre Group, and how are you responding to the change that capturing the Chinese? Are you getting more direct FIT business or groups still? Carry on.
For those who aren't aware of Louvre Hotels Group and our structure, we were acquired we're a French-based hotel operator. We're the second largest hotel operator in Europe. We have about 2,500 hotels, and we're a mid-scale. Core focus of ours is mid-scale, in the mid-scale segments. We were acquired about 4 years ago by a group called Jinjiang International. It's a major real estate travel logistics entity that is based out of Shanghai. It's essentially backed up by the state of Shanghai. And one of the key reasons that we were attractive for Jinjiang was our platform and our distribution in terms of the hotels we had across Europe and the Middle East. And more so, they identified us as a key vehicle to drive traffic from East China and Asia to the West, and vice versa, from the West to the East. And the Middle East plays an extremely critical focal point of travel, and it's growing more and more. And I think it's testament to everyone who's here. What we've been trying to do at Louvre Hotels is try and utilize the know-how of Jinjiang, who own a major online travel portal, who own a ton of hotels in China, and who are trying to educate us on what do we need to do to support, to support Gary's business, to support the multiple tour operators, and to support also the FITs that are coming online. There's just one thing I want to touch up on that people don't realize. I think today, when you talk about the numbers of 150 million travelers, and the number of passport holders are gonna almost double by 2020, the dynamics of travel is changing in ways that we haven't seen since the 50s, the 1950s, when travel became more affordable for people, and people in the West started, really West in North America started to travel to Europe and so forth. Today, you are seeing an influx of Asian, Chinese travelers on all segments. And you know, the key issue we're a hotel company, we are a platform for people to stay and to experience the cities, whether cultural in Sharjah, whether, you know, or cultural, resorts, business, industrial, you know, cities and destinations. And we need to be ready as an industry, as a hotel industry. And to be frank with you, we're not. I think we are not ready for the influx that's coming. So what we're trying to do is educate our teams, educate our hotel general managers and their teams to make sure that we're giving the services that you're talking about, you know, to make sure that the Chinese traveler has some sort or sense of familiarization when they arrive. The critical part that we're working on is from the booking component. So we have our social media platforms in Chinese, built in China. We're working with tour operators, you know, from China, in China, but we also have built our own online travel agency, so which links up to a lot of the tour operators. So a Chinese traveler, a young Chinese traveler can go on our Chinese website, the Jinjiang-based website, and book our hotels in Sharjah, in Dubai, in Muscat, and so forth. And that's what we're trying to really, so we're trying to secure and educate our people in the region how to service, but we're also trying to, frankly speaking, also educate our Chinese travelers that, look, we're here, we've got something to offer in Dubai, Sharjah, Oman, and so forth. And it's about communication, I think, and understanding what, you know, the Chinese travelers really require, because they're very different, but they're very similar to all of us, really.
Sure. Actually, thank you, Rami. Thank you. And that actually brings to a second aspect of our panel discussion today, is how to cater for the needs of the Chinese. So Amber already touched on some of the hotels are being, you know, prepared or better prepared when they understand that Chinese do require even some hot sauces and so on. That all instant noodle may not be, you know, desired by any hotel to provide, but some of the guests may want. But it's a question to every one of you to think about, who is ready to answer, and in terms of how each of you, in terms of outbound tour operator, inbound tour operator, OTA, Terry there, DMO, and of course hoteliers, how are you catering for Chinese or prepared to getting even better? I mean, I'm quite impressed by Jinjiang Group of having more Chinese touches there that are stayed in some of your hotels in Africa even. They have Chinese restaurant there, which, you know, is another one. It's not just a name. I mean, very few Chinese actually recognize Louvre being owned by Jinjiang, but it's you being part of Jinjiang Group may make you better. One of your general manager of the Golden Tulip Media today said 60% of their guests are Chinese already. So how many of you have 60% of guests are Chinese so far? And while the panelists are answering this question, and you can prepare your question so that the next round of questions is coming from the floor. Now, who is ready to answer the question? Maybe Helen, you started earlier in terms of how you are catering for the Chinese.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, education is really very important questions, and we were starting to educate our hoteliers and our transport company to the manners how to welcoming the Chinese tour operators. The most important things was even to explain to the hotels that we need the kettles with the hot water in each room. Why? Because in Ukraine there is a regulation in the hotels because of fire attention. You cannot put the kettle in the hotel of 4 or 3-star category. So it was really very difficult, but we were trying to explain them. And we will really need this kind of education conference in Ukraine. I hope now it will be stabilized after our election, and we will really need some kind of conference and education special for this matter. But by Pan-Ukraine, what we are doing, we are just promoting on our Chinese website, which is hosted by China Business Network, CBN, by Adam. And on our WeChat channel, we are trying to promote this unique place, as Amber told, where you can do the shooting. Because Ukraine has a lot of unique place, our Tunnel of Love, which was already replicated in somewhere in China, was already replicated. So our natural Tunnel of Love, our amber, we have the amber mines in Ukraine, and we have really a lot of goods from amber. So we have a lot of unique things which we are trying 5 times per week to announce on our website and on our WeChat channel.
Yeah. I like the word unique because, again, for DMOs, I'm sure Amber comes up to confirm the same, and DMCs, you need to think about what is unique, because Chinese visitors, as anyone like us, we go to a destination to experience something unique. We wouldn't come so far to UAE just to lay on the beach and so on. We have plenty of beaches in China. You know, the entire Hainan is an open international tourism destination and so on. But we would go up to the Burj Khalifa, or the experience the seven-star hotels, or going to Abu Dhabi, or the culture aspect that Amber mentioned. But Amber, I want you to focus on how Sharjah now follow the trends of reaching out to the FITs, because we heard you do have a lot of unique things there. But how would you get that message over to China?
Nowadays, for FIT and the group, this, especially nowadays, the young generation and even the elder generation already very keen with their mobiles. We have one joke in China, like when we eat, we first fill our mobile. Like we would first take a photo and then share the moments and then start to eat. Of course, that's a joke. Not everyone do, but that's a trend, especially for all generations. And that's why we have this FIT is developing in Sharjah, because we are really promoted with our OTA and our joint marketing partner. We are all the Chinese OTAs, and as well as a while ago what I said, the QLs, to make the young generation and elder generation who are really familiar with the mobile app, use the online booking, so that to develop the FIT booking. And for the leisure group, of course, we have also have our procedures to target this leisure group. Of course, this is our China Roadshow and our exhibition, participate in the China exhibition to make the branding. Because as government authority, we are supporting all Sharjah hotelers and attraction sales to target Chinese market. And what our authority also do is like other Sharjah government authority will support to build the basic facilities like how Sharjah Beach Road. They will do the full function, later on will be covered with Wi-Fi. So this kind of basic facility, and as well as what we suggest, the Sharjah hotels and the Sharjah attraction sales representative, they know about what Chinese market needs. So Sharjah is a China market ready destination. This will make a really difference. Make them feel at home.
Thank you, Amber. I'm sure you're China ready and ready for everyone. Those who haven't been to Sharjah, I even recommend to go there. And one tip for the Chinese we already arranged. The mosques are not always open to visitors, but they have the Al-Noor Mosque that's open tomorrow, Monday, but between 10 to 11 only.
Yes.
So we have Chinese buyers especially going there in the morning before coming over, because if you miss it, you have to wait another week. So those of you who haven't been to Sharjah, I haven't been inside the mosque. Go in there. They do have a talk about the history
Yes.
and so on.
So this is something really what I talked in the beginning, unique experience in Sharjah. Because that's the only mosque in Sharjah open for the public. Because for us, especially for other nationality, we don't know Muslim culture much. So as the first time, as a visitor to Sharjah or to the UAE whole region, like I want to know what is the mosque, how it looks like. There we'll have the local people, we'll have our staff in the Anu Mosque will really give you an introduction of how the local people, their festival dress, their local dress, how their prayer time. They will give you a really detailed introduction. And it's free for everyone. It's a public. So that really means a lot to the first visitor, the first time come to UAE to know about how is Sharjah, how is UAE, how is Arab culture.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, Terry, we mentioned in my earlier introduction that Alipay is one of those, so maybe this is the time for you to share how widespread Alipay, but also be fair to the others like WeChat Pay or whatever, yeah? But using your experience, how that's widespread, not just in China, but Chinese visitors, that your figures and so on showing that how we are spending money using the mobile pay.
Sure. I mean, also to answer your question about what are the main things we're doing to help Chinese travelers and to help destinations around the world and travel companies, there's really two key pillars of that. We have, in our company, we have what we call the 5 globals. We love lists. So we have global buy, global sell, global pay, global delivery, and we have global fun. And global fun is basically the combination of Alipay and Fliggy, our travel platform. So when it comes to Alipay, you know, Alipay has 1 billion users globally. Digital wallets, of which Alipay is one of a few. Digital wallets, Chinese travelers, recently the digital travel payment share overtook cash. It's over 32% of Chinese travelers will pay with a digital wallet. But that number is somewhat misleading. Chinese travelers would prefer to pay 100% with digital wallets.
Yeah.
The 32% is because we still have a lot of work to do to enable merchants to do so. But to answer your question from before, we here in Dubai, for example, the Dubai Mall has 80% of the merchants in the Dubai Mall now accept Alipay. Atlantis is 100% Alipay enabled. We have about 4,000 merchants in the UAE who accept Alipay. But that's a lot of work of the teams going, working with the teams, localizing that, finding a way to do so. We do so because this is how the Chinese travelers used to paying at home and how they want to pay when they're abroad. It's easy for them, it's safe, it's convenient, and if a merchant accepts Alipay or another digital wallet, they will spend more because they're able to tap into another budget. They're tapping into their home budget as opposed to their travel budget. So enabling Alipay is a key thing we do. Alipay is more than a payment method, it's also a marketing tool, which leads me to, I think, the other key thing we're doing, which is on Fliggy, we don't really see ourselves as an OTA. I know you mentioned us as an OTA because that's part of the functionality we have. We're really an OTM.
Yes.
We're an online travel marketplace because that's how Alibaba works. When we went into the travel business, our CEO was very clear, we don't need to go into the travel business. We do a lot of things. We're a company that does many, many things. If we're going to go into a business, we want to do something different. We want to help that industry change, in our mind, enable it to improve how it serves customers, or specifically how it connects a seller and a buyer. So we launched Fliggy as an online travel marketplace, and what we tried to do is to say, let's take the Louvre Hotels. So I would love Louvre Hotels to open a flagship store. We can talk afterwards. Let's say Louvre Hotel opens a flagship store on Fliggy. the idea for us is not that we're just simply going to list a bunch of hotels, and if someone searches on a hotel in Dubai, that he'd also find Louvre hotels. That's fine, but that's really just the OTA model. What we would like to do, what we're passionate about, is saying, let's enable Louvre hotels to build a direct connection with the Chinese consumer. What does the brand stand for? What is the history of the brand? What makes it unique? What is customized content for the Chinese traveler that they can engage with pre-trip, post-arrival, and even post-trip to say, this is what I associate with Louvre hotels, because this is so important, as I mentioned before, to the decision process for the Chinese traveler. So what we do with Fliggy is really try to create this marketplace where brands, destinations, and is that a DMO or a DMC or whatever it is, to say, I want to engage with the Chinese traveler to help them understand what makes me unique.
Okay.
I think in the long term, something that I think few people are thinking about, but I would like to just call it out to the audience. Brands, currently we think of brands, be it a destination or a travel brand or any other brand, brands tend to, when they do this right, they say, I need to communicate what makes my brand special. That's great. But think further out. Think out 3-5 years where we go from 150 million trips. President Xi said he thinks there'll be 700 million trips at a certain point, not that far off in the future. When Chinese become the main consumer of a brand, how are you going to adapt your brand to stay unique and special and yet adapt it to the Chinese taste, where it's not an extra business, it's not a niche business or niche target group that is growing faster, it's becoming the primary target audience. And how does your brand adapt to that? This is something that, in my opinion, the smartest tourism brands will be thinking about that out into the future. And that's, we try to have a platform that enables them to do that, because to do that, you need to engage with the consumer, the Chinese traveler, directly.
Fantastic. Thank you, Terry. Now I just want to explain to those of you who haven't encountered Fliggy. Fliggy, the Chinese name Feizhu. Actually, this shows how Alibaba, the Jack Ma, used to, start working with him before he set up Alibaba. He has very advanced thinking. The Chinese name calls flying pig, isn't it? So flying pig, Fliggy, yeah? So if pigs can fly, that only takes the dictionary. He did explain well that it's the OTM. So Alibaba is all about providing a platform. They don't do e-commerce as such, but platform for not just people like Gary, but you guys. Maybe someone will ask him the question, can you, as an incoming tour operator, DMC or hotelier, set up stores on their marketplace? Because they got the marketing power. I guess the answer is yes, okay? But also just to add, I think some of you already have this question, say, could you set up Alipay? My answer is, because I did presentation on not just Alipay, all the mobile pays, is yes, you guys can easily. You may be surprised how easy it is to open an account with Alipay, WeChat Pay, or UnionPay. It takes, let's say, I've tried it myself, helped many of our clients less than 10 minutes to apply. And if you get your registration already, it can be approved very quickly, provided that in your destination, I'm sure in UAE and somewhere else, their local agent or themselves have office, because it's linked with the bank. Once that is done, you only need to apply online and supply your local registration with your bank account. And what will happen then? Any payments that Chinese individuals or business made to you are debited from China in Chinese money, so they don't have to think about the exchange. And you receive in your bank account, I think it's within 24 hours, maybe quicker, and foreign currency. So it bypasses all this transfer and taking time. Very easy. So if you have that question, we can deal with that later on. Now, do you use Alipay in Jinjiang Group, in the Louvre Group, and so on?
We've got all those platforms that you mentioned, UnionPay, Alipay,
Okay.
across the board for us. You know, I mentioned the online travel agency that we also own. So for the Chinese FIT outbound traveler booking in China, they pay in. So they actually pay up front. They pay in. So they're sitting in Shanghai or Beijing or Guangzhou, and they book our hotel in the Middle East, and so they pay up front at home.
Yeah.
That gives them an additional comfort zone. You know, the key component of what we're talking about today is just like any other segment, any other market or destination. You know, with the Americans, with the French, with the English, with the Saudis, with the Russians, you need to understand what they're looking for. With the Chinese traveler, it's a bit more complex because there's so many layers, and there's the sheer scale that is, you know, that's coming our way, which is very interesting. It's a fantastic time for us. I think it's about education. So if we were to work on some sort of pilot project or you know, some sort of package per se, what we would like to do is work with, you know, with a platform that gives us the data and educates us to say, look, our customers or Gary's customers want to be, you know, next to, you know, a cultural destination, want to go visit the mosques. They would like, you know, they typically want X, Y, Z. And what we're trying to do now more is to sit with travel agents, tour operators, but also DMCs and say, look, we have access to China. We have access to Europe, but we're talking about China too. We have access to China, and we have access to a potential platform. What we can help drive interest and awareness to come. What we want to be, in talking about uniqueness, what we want to try and be is a platform for people to stay, have a quality lodging experience, they dine comfortably, and they have good access to the critical destinations that they want to visit. So in Abu Dhabi, it's about the Grand Mosque, the Louvre, and those type of components. In Dubai, we talk about the shopping and Burj Khalifa and so forth. So if we want to work on packaging, really creating packages for the Chinese traveler, and we're even talking to some airlines. And today I had a meeting with one of the major airlines in the region, one of the largest, and the interest is peaking. And how can they bring in the travelers? You mentioned 4 million are traveling through the UAE. 1 million is visiting. It's a big number for the UAE, 1 million. 5 years ago, it was non-existent almost. So today we're trying to see how can we get more transit to spend 1-2 days in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Sharjah, and then they go on to Europe, they go on to other places, and that's not being tapped into enough.
Sure.
So for us, it's educating the consumer, the Chinese consumer, what we have to offer, and vice versa. We need to really understand and listen. I know it's something that you've heard, you keep hearing, but what we're doing is we're sending general managers to Shanghai. They're shadowing GMs. What we want to do is start to send them to shadow general managers in Shanghai and Beijing, our salespeople. We want to hire more, you know, Chinese guest relations management, and just to really understand what they need, because the Chinese traveler, correct me, Gary, if I'm wrong, will not complain or will not voice their satisfaction or dissatisfaction during their stay.
Sure.
They will head back home, and then the social media platforms are gonna, you know, they're gonna have a field day in terms of if they had a bad experience or a good experience. It's about us trying to manage how to service them and also manage their expectations, because the expectations are key. So those are the little things we're trying to do now.
Thank you, Rami. They are very comprehensive advice. I'm sure that you value that. Now, Gary is the last one, but I want you, I asked you before, to pose your question to the tour operators here, incoming tour operator DMCs. What do you think, as a representative of outbound travel trade from China and tour operator and visitors, what do you think the Chinese are looking for as a tour operator to the travel trade and as the Chinese visitors? ask them.
Okay,
Okay.
working with me. Okay, I'm working with all major China travel platforms like Fligate, Mafengwo, Ctrip, Qunar. How to say Qunar? I don't know.
Where you go, yeah.
There is
Gary-
another one, Meituan. Meituan is a very popular platforms in China. They have 600 million monthly active users. So it's wow.
Yeah.
They sell local activities, meals, local hotels.
Gary,
The-
what do your
That's how
people
you are. Yeah.
want from the stays with us, so our
Exactly.
hotels.
So yeah. So
And our-
because
so
you've
what
done
do-
the
what
other
do your
part. So
what do your clients want from our hotels? What do they expect across the Middle East and North Africa? We didn't talk about North Africa a lot, but we should. And what do they need from destinations like Sharjah, for example, and Ukraine?
Okay. They unique and different, unique services. They want experience more local.
听不到。Yeah.
The more and more people have this kind of expectations. They can memorize something, tell their children and grandchildren, I used to be there and play this and play that. We have a picture with this one and that one. Something like that, more local experience.
Gary，从那个我用汉语稍微解一下，从我们出境社
对
需要他们做哪些东西？比方说，是不是当天要回复你们的 inquiry 啊这些东西？
Yeah, that's why I'm talking. I'm working with all the major travel platforms. I have 200 people with, but I do need more content. Do need more product. I hope I can get support from you. We combine our human resources and contribute more and better content design, combine our resources, design a better product, meet the China market demand, then make us a success.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Thank you, Gary. I think I summarized what he wanted to say is in today's environment, it's not so much that you just sit there waiting for them to send visitors to you and then you provide incoming. But they need you to be more proactive, to feed them with content, with what you can offer, and suggest its itinerary and so on, so that then they will sell it for you, joint marketing and so on. So that's, I think, Gary was saying, yeah. Now, I'm conscious of time as a moderator. I let you decide. I did offer you asking question, but it's also your time to talk to Chinese tour operators after this. We are privileged today because no one else using this place until 6 anyway. So can you tell me if you want to ask question now to the panel or you want to ask question when we are standing up and to specific one? What do you want? Does anyone have any specific question to the panel? If not, I would, okay, it's too dark, I don't even see. Okay, there's a microphone going up there.
Good evening. My name is Alok and I'm the Group General Manager for Fortune Group of Hotel, a mid-scale hotel operator here in Dubai. My question to the respected panel is, we do a lot of Chinese groups and very few FIT, but one typical challenge that we face is to really get some money out of their pockets during the hotel stay. We have a large group staying in the hotel, a loud, noisy lobby with due respect when they come in, and the next time that we really see them is coming late in the evening, exhausted, going straight off to the bed. I don't know, is it thanks to Sharjah tourism or all the other tourism authority that their itineraries are so strict that they don't really get any time out to enjoy any facility at the hotel. So going back to my question, my basic challenge is how do I get some ancillary services revenue out of a Chinese group? You know, trust me, giving them a free drink at the bar doesn't help.
Now, maybe panel, whoever want to answer, but I just half jokingly say, it also can be applied. If you have a casino in your hotel, Chinese will stay there. If you have even restaurants, they stay in, okay? But because they are not always what they need to do in your hotel, unfortunately, they may be out shopping. So if you create shopping outlet in your hotel, that's another way. That's my just gut feeling. But how did Jinjiang attract or keep people there? And there was question also to, you know.
Look, I think you need to also understand. We need to understand that there's certain needs and expectations they have. So they want to get out. They want to go and shop and experience the city. And you know, Gary said they want to really feel the local culture. So there's a couple of components that we find very interesting. One is provide a sense of comfort with the food. So I don't know what you're creating in terms of, I'm not talking about just put some, you know, cup noodles or noodles in the restaurant or in the rooms for them to, you know, to put, to boil water and utilize. A proper tea experience, tea garden experience, it's a very critical element, you know, for a lot of the travelers. We have in one of our hotels in Dubai an authentic Korean, run by Koreans, truly authentic restaurant, and you know, we have 60% of our clientele are Chinese, and they frequent the outlet extensively. And so that's part of the ancillary component. Maybe potentially creating a really local experience of dining, so the Emirati flavors and so forth. But the core, your mid-scale operator, the core focus is to ensure they get the proper access and egress in and out of the hotel. In my opinion, you provide a value proposition, and you want those groups to come. But the FITs, I think you need to also start looking at the FITs more. In this part of the world, we don't realize the scale of the FIT component of the Chinese traveler. But it's back to what Gary's saying is content. We need to feed companies like Gary's about the content. What do we offer? Not just about the hotel. What's the hotel going to do for the customer when they come? Where are you going to take them? What access do you give them to the mall or to certain facilities that they would like? So I don't know. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe, thank you, Rami, there. And Amber wanted to add something.
Thank you so much.
So I think I have the right to answer this question because this is not only your hotel. It's I think it's all the hotel in globally will ask why Chinese people not spend much time in hotel and spend much in the hotel. It all depends what your hotel facility will provide. And first of all, you need to know is the Chinese, they come this country, they come UAE, they come Sharjah, it's like for their stay, follow their schedule. They have a tourist package. For FIT, they have their tour agenda. But for the groups, they have a full day schedule. So for example, maybe this day they will go to other Emirates, this day, one day they will stay in Sharjah. But so their schedule is like from morning they going out and the evening they come back. Of course, they will have free day, but to enable you attract them during the free day is like your hotel need to have some unique, like either restaurant or place to take a photo. I give you one example. Like for our Sharjah hotel, like Sheraton, like Copton, like Ramada, like they have their unique experience. For Sheraton, they can take a photo in the beach side, and it's Arab style, very unique, upstanding hotel. And for example, for like Ramada, they're linked to the mall. And so they can dine in the restaurant, and then they will go to the mall and shopping and come back. So at least they will spend something in the hotel. So that's what I'm supposed to be answering your question. It's like, if your hotel really provides some unique experience and unique choice for them to enable them to stay, rather than ask the question why they not stay. So I would suggest you provide some really good point. For example, very unique restaurant experience. Like every people will go crazy for that and take selfie with your handsome chef. Like how this one Turkey chef is very famous here in Dubai maybe. So this kind of thing will make your hotel be special.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Amber. Now, you have time to ask questions to specific panelists after we conclude this. And in conclusion, I wish each of you, I do wish you to have the last say anyway, but because it's your time, so you want to have more time to interact with them, can we agree on just keeping it one sentence or maximum 1 minute, each of you, that what would be your advice to both DMOs, other destination marketing organization, DMCs here, hoteliers, and just start Helen here.
I just advise you to continuously market your property and your destination, not only on WeChat channels, using the websites in Chinese hosted in China, but also, for example, next month there will be the big exhibition in Shanghai, ITB Shanghai. You should be there. Why? Because everything is happens there, all these kind of meetings, all these kind of agreements with Ctrip, with Alipay, you can do there. So don't sit on your chair, just go trace your target, and your target is China, you will be successful.
Yes, thank you for that. And your conclusion, Amber, last words?
As beginning what I said, our Sharjah slogan, we want to make everyone who come to Sharjah, you will smile while you are in Sharjah. So that's our slogan, and that's what our goal as well. So we will make every basic service to provide to all the Chinese tourists, even other nationality tourists, to make this happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Terry, what's your advice on those that are not necessarily related to Alipay, but anything else? Okay.
Yes. So for me, I mean, the most important thing is decide what is your strategy for engaging with the Chinese traveler. What is your ambition? What is the degree of your ambition? How much are you willing to invest in terms of time and energy to achieve that? That is the number one thing. Then start using the tools. Do implement Alipay, do engage with social media, do try things out. Do it the Chinese way, which is iterative. Try things out, see how it works, do more. There is no master plan. And then once you do certain things, you open a flagship store on Fliggy, for example, that is just the starting point. Then have a local person who understands it. Engage, experiment, invest, try it again. It will not be a one-time thing. This is a long-term project, and that's why I mentioned ambition and your willingness to deliver against that ambition, but it's a journey well worth making.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Rami, just to go in the order, please, your
Yes,
advice.
I'll keep it short. For me, the one piece of advice is communication. And it sounds simple, but I think DMCs, hotel operators, platforms, OTAs, OTMs, destinations, tour operators, we really, we need to talk more. We need to work together more to provide that holistic package for the FITs and the groups and the different layers of age groups. And we're open to sit and educate ourselves and hopefully give a little bit on what we have to offer to everyone in the room, really.
Thank you again. And Gary, so last word is yours. So what advice would
okay.
you give to them?
Working with a company like ours who have experience and is capable to working with travel platforms to provide them not only product but also content. Be patient, you will be success. Thank you.
Thank you again, Gary. And Gary is only representing many of the tour operators sitting here. Many of them are on the way still throughout the next few days. That I wish you stay, talk to them, and of course, you will get more business through them. And as Helen said, we welcome you to China because for the smaller number of Chinese coming over here, because they have to find time coming. But when you come to China, many of them are there, so you will meet more, that's definitely. So that's my advice to you all. And if you want put my last summary on the screen so that you can take away that. If you need more advice, you can leave your business card with us. And then, of course, you will be, we will be happy to support you, okay? And so for now, we just thank you very much. Thank the panel, and thank you for being here.